Universal is working on making Bourne 6 happen with Matt Damon, and the risky sequel is guaranteed to break a major franchise record once it comes out. The action movie franchise launched in the 2000s became one of the most influential for the genre as it achieved major levels of success. Through the release of the first 5 Bourne movies, the franchise earned over $1.6 billion at the box office. That is why it did not come as a surprise when reports began to surface that Bourne 6 was in development with the hope of Matt Damon returning. Details on Bourne 6 are not widely available at this point outside of confirmation that All Quiet on the Western Front director Edward Berger is leading the creative development. There is a desire for Damon to be back in the lead role, but that is not confirmed, as 2016's Jason Bourne seemed to be his final installment. There will be high excitement for Bourne 6 once it releases, and Universal is surely betting on it being a big hit. However, the new Bourne movie is quite risky. The proof comes through a franchise record it is guaranteed to break. Bourne 6 will break the franchise's longest gap between sequels record whenever it releases. Matt Damon looked concerned as Jason Bourne in 2016's Jason Bourne. The timing of Bourne 6's announcement means that the movie is already guaranteed to break a franchise record for the longest gap between sequels. This is known even though Bourne 6 does not yet have an official release date. Because Jason Bourne came out in 2016, the 8 years that have already passed is the longest audiences have gone without a new movie in this franchise since its inception in 2002. Whether Bourne 6 managed to come out tomorrow or in 20 years from now, the record-long gap between sequels would still be true. While Bourne 6 is currently guaranteed to break the record gap between sequels, the longest gap between Matt Damon's appearance in the franchise is also likely to be broken. The franchise went 9 years between Damon's appearances in The Bourne Ultimatum and Jason Bourne. It has already been 8 years since audiences last saw Jason Bourne, and the 9-year record gap will at least be tied in the scenario where Bourne 6 is fast-tracked for a 2025 release date. That appears to be unlikely, though, which could mean a full decade passes by the time Bourne 6 releases. Bourne 6's record gap will test how much audiences still care about the franchise. The Bourne movie gap that already exists after Jason Bourne proves why Bourne 6 is a bigger risk than it seems. The 8 years that have passed since the last installment might not be that much in the grand scale, but that is an eternity in Hollywood. Audiences have become increasingly used to receiving sequels to successful franchises within 2 to 4 years of each other. That is the pattern that the original Bourne trilogy used and found great success with. Now, there are questions about how much interest really remains in the action franchise and for Damon to return. In the years since the last Bourne movie, the standards and expectations for action movie franchises have evolved. John Wick has become the premier action movie franchise thanks to its ability to showcase thrilling, new, and largely practical fights. Just as the Bourne identity inspired its fair share of copycats, John Wick has done the same. It also means that Keanu Reeves' movies might have taken the place of Damon's franchise. Without the continued expansion of the world, Universal is betting on brand recognition to help make Bourne 6 a success. Jason Bourne's box office is a good sign that Bourne 6 can be a success. Matt Damon as Jason Bourne and Alicia Vikander as Heather Lee in Jason Bourne. Betting on Bourne 6 being successful might be the right move for Universal too. The record gap is scary and potentially increases the likelihood of audiences not showing up for the next Matt Damon action sequel. However, Jason Bourne's box office performance could be viewed as a sign of optimism. The 5th entry in the franchise came out 4 years after the Bourne legacy, but 9 years after the last sequel starring Damon. The excitement to see Jason Bourne's story continue after so many years helped make Jason Bourne the second highest grossing Bourne movie at the box office.